Welcome back to Higurashi.
Is it Higurashi?
Yeah.
Or is this Kikonia?
You know
Is this
what? I don't
early
know.
release
Or
Kikonia?
is it Sasonia?
That's an excellent question.
I actually had a discussion with someone about it. They're like, it's a dumb name, that's Sasonia. And I was like, that's not even how you say it, dude. Kikonia.
I saw it spelled with a K the first time I saw it spelled as well.
Is that like how it's supposed to be spelled? I don't actually know. It's been too long.
How
It's been
how
years
is
since
one
it was
language
announced.
meant to be in another language?
I know, right? That's just how it is. Maybe it's supposed to be Greek and we just don't know.
Maybe it is.
Maybe because she is Greek. It explains so much about like the food interest, like the Greeks, they're into food, right? It's like their thing. That and losing to the Romans.
When the walls fell.
When the walls fell at Katok or whatever. Let's not turn this into a Star Trek episode.
Let's not do that.
As much fun as that would be.
Oh my goodness. This is... I mean, we definitely discussed it at the end of last video a bit.
We discussed everything.
Yes, we've discussed everything to the ends of the earth.
Which is great.
But it is very... it's interesting, first of all, how long this is going.
Yep.
But also just the pacing of the tension build in this chapter has probably been the most unique of any of Ryukishi's arcs we've read so far through this.
Are you just saying Higurashi or Umineko as well?
Umineko as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I think with every one of Ryukishi's stories, there's obviously the very consistent rise in tension, emotional roller coaster back
and then
forth.
there's the big peak.
Yeah.
Where we killed Tepe.
But this time, not only did we got the tension earlier.
Yep.
We've also had a lot more just consistent tension without any real release.
Yep. And now we're having a release, arguably.
Well, I mean, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes, but yeah.
But it's just been a lot. It's been a longer uphill, which I know something as I've complained about in other stories, that they kind of have no highs and lows.
Sure.
And it's been interesting to see how Ryukishi's doing this here, because obviously we do have pauses where it does step down a little bit, but it's not the full roller coaster that we normally get from Ryukishi.
I don't know if I've talked about his production diary, but he talks. I'm going to talk about it now anyway.
I don't know if I've talked about his production.
Yeah, well,
have we had a video?
You know what I mean?
Recording session where you haven't.
You know what I mean? Like the one for Tatari Guroshi that Rockmore is translating.
Yes.
For Arc 3, he talked about how, first off, he talked about Comiket and how he had to get Higurashi done by Comiket, which is this big VN thing that you have to apply to and be involved in, or else your vision novel won't get to anyone and it'll suck. But he was complaining about how he had no time because the job he was working at since starting the series didn't understand the concept of vacation days. That was how he put it. But yeah, how he was trying to follow the kind of structure of a trilogy, which, as he put it, was that the first movie establishes a concept. For him, the first arc was a mental battle, and the second arc was it'll take that concept and flip it on its head. So in his mind, the second arc was a physical battle. And then in most trilogies, they will then just reinvent the first movie, which I think is a pretty it's a pretty good, not every trilogy, but yeah, usually the third movie is this is how far we've come. This is how we take the concepts in the first movie and flip them around.
Did he also stick to the trilogy, maxim of making them each suck progressively more?
I don't think so. I think he's always trying to improve his work, and it's very admirable. But yeah, he talked about the struggle of I don't know what my third arc is going to be, because I'm by law, by Hobgoblin media law, I'm supposed to be reinventing the first arc, but that doesn't make any sense, especially because he wanted to make 7 arcs at the time. So seeing, that pacing change and Keiichi's position of power, I think, is very different to the first arc. We'll come back to this in the recap to see whether it is a reimagining or if it's this whole new crazy thing. But yeah, that's kind of how he felt at the time.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
The lights at home were dazzlingly bright. Suddenly they reminded me of how hungry I was.
Very.
I checked the clock and saw that it was almost 7. I thought for sure it was 2 or 3 in the morning already. I was surprised at how messed up my biological clock had gotten just from this one night. There's a warm light coming from the curtains in the living room window.
I could hear a faint piano. coming from within the house.
He opens the door and his dad's just there playing.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, he's in like a tuxedo.
Son, I heard you murdered someone. I came with a theme.
Perfect.
The worlds between here and what was beyond those curtains were so different. If only that man hadn't shown up, I would have been in that light.
Oof.
That's really on the nose.
It's a metaphor, Felix. It's poetic. It rhymes.
It's so strange that, like, you know, obviously I've had characters before that have compared things with analogy, but I don't think I've ever read any character that is quite so on the nose with being like, this is my literary,
I am the shadow, I am the night.
Yeah.
I am the Batman. Right? No, I mean, you're totally correct. Subtext is important, but sometimes it's just as fun for melodramatic Keiichi to be like, I am the murderer. Right? Yeah.
So what is that? What do we have now? We have we have Sataka, Batrika. There's the one that no one noticed.
What? What
and
was
then
that?
I feel like
Bane. Can we make him Bane?
we have to make him Bane, right?
Yes, I was born in the shadows with this bat. Fantasy.
but it's not I was born in the shadows. It's I was birthed in the shadows.
There you go. I was birthed in the shadows. That's him.
And instead of molded by it, it's like iron under a hot forge.
Yeah,
I was molded.
Crafted. Yeah, for sure.
Just
and that's Keiichi.
Completely on the nose.
Yeah, of course it is.
And the nose sticks through a telephone, of course.
Of course,
I'd still be excited for the festival, and I'd be talking to my parents about how much fun I had with all of my friends.
Yeah.
And then even though they made a hot meal for...
I just had a momentary lapse where I read hot meal as hot metal, and I was like, oh, he did it! But no, I'm just delirious.
Even though I was a pile of hot metal, bulging and full. He's Fortinbras now, he's Fortinbras.
I would have eaten way too much at the stalls, barely eaten any of it, and gone back to my room. No doubt I'd crawl into my futon and easily let myself fall asleep. But right now, I was completely different.
Good.
There wasn't a single ember of warmth from those weak streetlights. Right now, I was unconnected to any time spent with my family, and there is neither warm food nor the time to allow myself to sleep. My body exposed to the cold rain, I knew that I simply had to spur myself on to accomplish what I must.
Oh,
I realized how timid, how cowardly I was becoming. For what reason did I need to kill someone, even if it felt this terrible? I'd lost sight of my purpose. I selected the fastest, most fundamental way of saving Sadako and executed it without hesitation.
Yeah, efficiency, boys!
That man was dead. He was gone. He would never ever hurt Sadako again. We all thought frantically for days on end about Sadako's problem, and finally, with no options, we gave up, and I had solved it in one night. Solved it!
Yeah, everything was fine. Our arc end done, easy.
Like, we've definitely brought it up time and time again, and the story has too.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, Sadako goes home and she's like, oh, where's my uncle? How strange.
I mean, I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything to say I think we know how this is going to go.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
It's not going to be the end. Because this is how she rolls.
The beginning must happen unless just, like, everyone dies.
Yeah.
And
Maybe.
even then, that's the beginning because everyone's dead.
Yeah, who knows?
By myself, without anyone's help. Right about now, Sadako would be making dinner for her uncle despite not knowing when he'd return, and she might be spending the night trembling in fear of whether he'd yell at her for how it tasted. But her uncle wouldn't come home. She wouldn't have to fear his wrath, nor let him make her feel sad. I see. I did it. I successfully saved Sadako.
He did it.
All I'd been thinking about for a long time was killing that man, and I'd forgotten the feeling that it was actually all to save her. I did. I did something good. That's right. I did something good, didn't I? I felt hot tears coming from my eyes, and that's when I first realized the exhaustion I'd been feeling was actually guilt. The blade of guilt for a while now had just been scraping away with its tip, hurting my heart. It hurt so bad I couldn't stand it. It was throbbing painfully. It hurt so much it was so painful that I cried. I cried tears of joy at saving Sadako. I didn't know why really. Anymore, I just cried. My tears fell and fell as I stood there for a while, coming to terms with those warm tears. My heart was comforted a little. Alright, Keiichi Maebara. That's enough. There's nothing to regret or feel ashamed about. Both my body and mind were thoroughly exhausted, and that was a fact. It was only natural I couldn't feel anything. Even tomorrow and the day after that, I might not be able to feel anything for a while. But there was one thing that was true. There was the undisputable fact that I had saved Sadako. One day we would surely be rewarded. One day I'd be proud of how distressing an enterprise I had undertaken to get Sadako's smile back.
That's a very peculiar way to look at things. Like, one day I'll be proud of myself for killing someone. Is that how that works?
Maybe tomorrow.
I haven't murdered enough people to really know how it feels.
Oh, it feels pretty great, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your insight.
You're very welcome. That's why I'm here, as the murderer of the pair.
And so that I could wait for that day, I had to put the finishing touches on this night. If I left it undone, everything I'd accomplished today would be for naught. I looked back up at the sky, which didn't look like it would stop raining anytime soon. Then I rubbed my eyes and summoned forth energy from my core again. How long did I plan on spacing out? This isn't the time for daydreaming. Someone could find that corpse this very moment. That pessimistic thought was proof the very natural emotion of fear had returned to me. As I allowed the fear to spur me onwards, I went to look for the other shovel and the lantern inside the storage room. I was fortunate I remembered what it looked like around the streetlight the body was near. With how dark it was, I was quite possible I wouldn't have been able to look for it either. I didn't realize that when I left the place, so the idea of memorizing the spot hadn't even crossed on my mind. That's why I had to call it fortunate that I managed to get back to the body like this. The corpse was now located in a big muddy puddle. Half the thing had already sunk into the swamp-like pool of water. I only realized afterward, but there was an unused irrigation channel right nearby, clogged with fallen leaves and dirt. There was rainwater flowing in from there. My shoes had been awash with water for a long time now, so without any hesitation I stepped into the puddle. The whole muddy stream started flowing back, luckily. I couldn't leave any slight traces like bloodstains. The rain was like a blessing from heaven. I checked around me, paying very close attention, then turned off the lantern. It became pitch black, but my eyes got used to the darkness in a few moments, and once I managed to reach the streetlight on the other side, I was able to make out even faint lights. I stuck the shovel into the puddle right next to the corpse. The ground was even looser here than I thought, and the shovel's tip easily slid inside it. I had to hurry and dig. If I took too much time, I might lose my energy and strength again.
I'm really excited and hoping that someone is just going to show up in the middle of this scene.
Who knows,
and I'm really, really hoping it's Tomataki.
Who knows, dude?
It felt almost like digging a hole in the sand at the beach. It was easy to dig, but no matter what, the muddy water kept flowing in, covering the hull.
Like, I don't think it's what it is, but I would be just the happiest man alive if it ends up that Keiichi kills Tomataki here.
Oh no.
And that's been what's happening every time.
Maybe.
And that's why the police can't present him with any evidence about it, because because they have DNA evidence or whatever that it's him from when he went to the hospital, and they've they've checked it and they're like, all right, what the fuck's going on?
Right, yeah. We'll find out, dude.
I hope that's what it is. I don't
want
think
to hype you up too much. I'm excited.
The digging wasn't going as well as I'd hoped. I dug and dug and the water would go in, so I couldn't get a sense of how deep it was. The only way for me to measure it was to bury my own foot in the mud.
Which I did.
I'm digging just fine. It's alright, don't be disheartened. Dig, dig, dig. Occasionally a car would come by on their road and I'd hurry to hide myself in the trees. Everyone was only passing through. They wouldn't have their eyes peeled in this kind of darkness. I understood it logically, but I still couldn't help but hide. What I was really scared of wasn't quite that one of those cars would coincidentally happen to witness me here. It was that the distance I could spot cars from was getting gradually shorter. At first I noticed the splashing sounds from really far as the cars drove through them. I started noticing them less and less, and with the car that just passed by, I didn't notice it until its headlights were upon me. I felt my senses growing duller by the second. If someone were to take a peek in secret as I was burying the body, I had the worst possible time. Maybe I wouldn't even notice. The moment I thought of that, I took a good look at all around me. I roused all my half-asleep senses and searched for signs of presence nearby. What if I found out someone was spying on me from the trees?
What?
A carnivorous feeling snarled at me, glaring. If there was, then I would dig another hole. I'd come this far already. In order to achieve perfection, I didn't care how much more I had to pay.
He's already given in?
I didn't know what kind of face I was making at the time, but it was definitely a fervently glaring one. My five senses reached the conclusion that nobody was present. I didn't breathe a sigh of relief. How long had I been digging this mud out of here? It was deep enough for it to go up to my knees. Maybe this was enough. Maybe I'd throw the corpse in as a test. I swallowed, getting my breathing under control. Despite how much I'd beaten him, I was afraid of touching the corpse, so instead I dragged it by the feet to the hole. It took more than just a waggle and a tug to do it, but of course it did. Considering this man's weight, it was easily 80 kilograms. I rallied all my strength and dragged him. 80 kilograms is actually not that heavy.
It's like average. It's not too bad, you know?
I'd say it's marginally above average.
A bit above average, but that's not too bad.
I rallied all my strength and dragged him. At this point, my groundless fears that he might suddenly start moving again had vanished long ago. His body fit perfectly into the muddy hole. It was more than deep enough.
Nice.
All right, let's bury him. Quickly, quickly, quickly. If I did a perfect job of burying it here, everything would be over. I would hide it in the hole and none of this would have ever happened. When I realized I only had a little farther to go to finish everything, I was racked with pointless anxiety. Like I was in a race against time. It's like I was absorbed in a delusion that if I didn't bury the body quickly, it might come back to life. In any case, in a great rush, I poured mud and dirt into the hole. If I didn't work efficiently, someone might find me here. Until now, I figured if someone saw, I'd just kill them, but not anymore. I was arrested with such absolute fear that if someone saw me, it would all be over. As I finished the work, it was a total mess.
Do I do the sound effects, or is the rain?
That's right, I got you. Splish, splash, squish, squash. Done.
Thank you.
Bam,
Thank you.
nailed it. I gotta do something in this scene.
So immersive.
There you go, squish, squash.
Now, can you try and make the sounds with your mouth?
What do you mean?
Like these sounds, like... Come on, there's four of them. Come on, go ahead.
Splish. What do you mean? What do you want from me?
I want you to make the sound of water. You know.
Water.
This is why you'd never make it in the sound design industry, Ben. Could you imagine watching like big action movies where just every sound effect is replaced by someone saying the sound?
Have you seen, oh my goodness, have you seen, I don't know who made them, it might be Indie Mouse, I don't know who it is, but someone who did like the Left 4 Dead openings, but I do all the sounds.
Yeah.
We're gonna link that in the description because that is fantastic, because he's like, chugga for the chainsaw, like crick crack, it's fantastic. Go look at that stuff.
I drew the surface of the shovel across the ground, trying to make it flat.
Anyway, murder.
I was completely covered in mud at that point. The rain washed the mud off my body, but not off my now blackened clothing. My body and mind were caked with panic, with fear, with rain and sweat and mud.
Doing good.
My shoulders heaving, I threw down the shovel and sat down in the mud. I was so exhausted that I wanted to lie down right here and sleep.
Perhaps I could just drop into the corpse hole.
It was over. This time, for real. It was over. The man was now in the bottom of the wet dirt. Right at this moment, there were traces that this place had been dug up, but the rain and flowing muddy water would completely cover it all within moments.
Yeah.
Yes, it was over. I did it. I did it. You motherfucker!
Wow, language.
Is he gonna go back for the other lantern and shovel, or is he just gonna leave him there?
You just bury him, right?
And then I fell over backwards, face up in the mud. Raindrops pelted my face without mercy, but I didn't care. After staying there for a while, resting my mind, I got up again. It was over. So let's go home. You already buried the whole thing. So now it's like it never happened. It's never happened, so there's no reason for me to stay out here and get rained on. I wobbled to my feet. I wouldn't use the shovel anymore. I considered disassembling it, but I didn't have the strength in my absolute exhaustion. I didn't really need to take it apart anyway. Dragging the shovel behind me, I headed towards the light.
It's like the fucking pyramid head or whatever it is.
It's like dragging, yeah.
I stood up my bike. It had been laying in the grass by the road. I didn't know how I was going to get the still assembled shovel into the front basket. Put the shovel down the back of my shirt like I'd done with the baseball bat. Unlike the bat, the corner of it was on my back, making it very painful.
It doesn't sound like a good plan at all.
Yeah. Plus, if I relaxed my posture even a little, it would fall out behind me. I ended up having to carry the shovel in my left hand and ride my bike using only my right hand. Not only was I in a state of total exhaustion, this was a downpour. One hand on the handlebars. I was swaying to and fro like a drunk. But I didn't care. Even swaying like this, I got a little closer to home every time I pedaled.
I do like that Higurashi is portraying murder like a lot of work. Like in a lot of action movies and drama movies and things, like, I could kill you with just a press of a button, and they go blam blam, they shoot a bunch of dudes, or like, your life is in my hands. But like with Keiji here, he's like, I have put so much thought into this, and it is like physically and emotionally draining by the end of it.
Yeah.
Like murder is a labor of love, one might even say.
I think you could say that.
I would say that.
The other thing I really enjoy about this scene in particular,
yeah,
that, you know, obviously it's just kind of setting the scene to some extent.
Sure.
But the whole thing that it's raining this time, like, you know, do we take it as significant that in previous arcs it hasn't rained on the night of the Utanagashi? Or...
I don't know, it seems pretty normal to me. I'm sure it's fine.
It's one of those things, again, where if it wasn't being pointed out so aggressively, we could let it slide, but because it's like, it's raining, it's raining. It's both leaning towards the emotion that you're saying, where it's making it seem like a lot harder work, but it could also be like, well, did you know that the village, when a child below the age of 12 does a murder, that's when it rains.
Right. A red sun rises, blood has been spilled
yeah,
this
that
night.
kind of shit.
Where's our elf in this story? I guess that's sort of Renna. Like, she's like, let me tell you about Shirasama. Let me tell you.
I saw two lights swing slowly in front of me. The car was approaching. Oh no, I need to get out of the way.
Oh no.
From far away in the shadows of the darkness, a car appeared. Its dazzling lights washed over me.
This doesn't seem important.
The driver made a short honk of the horn to inform me I was in the middle of the road. I have to get out of the way. I kept telling myself that, but not only was I riding one-handed, I was exhausted, so I couldn't do anything. Wobble, 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 wobble.
Wobble, wobble. Wobble, wobble, wobble.
I meandered about, not going to the right or to the left.
Oh no.
The driver decided to swerve out of the way right in front of me, and without lowering its speed much, steadily came towards me.
But who could it be?
Its outline grew larger in my vision, and telling myself again that I really needed to get out of the way, I jerked the handlebars in one direction, and lost my balance and fell over, bike and all. My whole body splayed out, and the grins reached my face already.
Here we go.
My whole body splayed out, and one foot got caught in the bike.
Oh boy, I'm excited.
Oh, here
Who
we
is
go.
it?
This was seriously bad. My drowsiness quickly vanished, and just as a cold sweat broke out on my skin, the driver recklessly spun the wheel to the left, made a counterclockwise U-turn, and came right up to me and stopped. The driver's seat door opened, and the driver came out.
Here we go.
You idiot, what are you doing here? I was pretty sure someone would yell at me like that.
You're gonna have to voice this character.
Does that mean it's who I think it is?
It probably is.
Oh my, look who it is. It was a woman's voice, and one I knew. I lifted my face off the ground and looked at her.
Oh,
Who?
it's so predictable.
I know, Takano. She's not suspicious.
Takano-san. Good evening. The moon is very pretty tonight. Mayabara It was raining far too hard to see the moon. Takano-san unfolded an umbrella and smiled as she spoke.
Oh, God.
That smile was for some reason uncanny, like she'd seen right through me.
God, I love her. All right, here we go.
Out of all the people I could have met, I got the sudden feeling this was the one I wanted to see the least.
I can't do his voice.
You have to. You have to stop grinning. Control yourself.
What are you doing out so late? And you're soaked and covered in mud. No umbrella either. What is that? A shovel? She'd come here via car. She wouldn't have known what I was just doing, and yet she smiled as though she knew everything.
As though.
Calm down, Keiichi Mayabara. She always makes that mysterious-looking smile, remember? Don't let her onto anything lest you dig your own grave.
Oh, God.
Rumors say you were playing baseball with a golf club. Is that what the shovel's for, too? You're using it as an umbrella.
Yeah, got me. Now I'm gonna go over to the woods now.
I should tell a good lie here. If I could just do that, things would work out. When I went with Renna to go digging for treasure at the dam, we forgot this there.
And you went to get it in this downpour?
When I left my house, I didn't think it would rain, so...
Oh, it's been raining for a while, though. You've been out for quite some time, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I was kind of wandering around.
Even so, you came from that direction, didn't you? The dam is in the opposite direction, you know.
Oh!
Takano-san was clearly aware that something exceedingly abnormal was happening with me, and she played her little word games. And as she played her little word games, she was enjoying driving me into a corner. Maybe she had a vague guess just from the situation of what I'd been doing. My timing really sucked running into her, of all people. Of all the times. At the very end, I could only be frustrated at my terrible luck. I'd done so much, and the end was literally right around the corner. So why at the very end did I run into her, of all people? What do you do, Keiichi Mayabara? You're still holding something that could be a dangerous weapon. Will you silence Takano-san? Even if it would be simple to kill Takano-san, dealing with the car she'd come in afterward would be an issue. I couldn't drive a car. It was completely different from a motorbike. But even if the car was here, as long as there was no proof I killed her. Yes, in tonight's downpour, without any prior planning, all by coincidence, a hit and run. As long as I didn't drop any handkerchiefs with my initials on them, they would never know I killed her. A black flame quietly smoldered and raged in the core of my body.
A black flame, you say? Interesting.
That's a scary look. Did I tease you too much?
Takano-san started to laugh by herself, then thankfully stopped talking about it. But the dark clouds in my mind didn't go away. Leaving that aside, how long are you planning on crawling on the ground with your bike like that? Would you mind moving out of the way? If I moved, she would leave.
I love this, because it's like, would you mind moving as she did a fucking U-turn to come back to him? Oh, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So I tried to get the bicycle up and out of the way, but then twisted my ankle in it and fell over. Shit. There's a sharp pain in the ankle I'd twisted. This is nonsense. A sprained ankle now?
Oh my, are you alright? Did you twist your ankle?
Takano-san squats down and takes a good look at the ankle I keep rubbing. She compares it to my facial expression, apparently trying to gauge how bad the wound was.
Yeah, she's a nurse, right?
Can you stand?
I didn't expect to, but I couldn't even stand up. It was all I could do to shamelessly wriggle on the ground like a caterpillar.
And my next move is to kill her.
Oh no.
I love this so much.
Good luck.
Takano-san looked at her watch and then at her car. After thinking for a moment, opened the passenger seat door, and then gave me her shoulder to stand up with.
I'll take you home. I do feel bad since it's almost like I hit you.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't just leave you there. It's a good thing I'm a nice person.
Nobody could have ever called themselves a nice person, but that would have been a terrible thing to say to someone holding me up like this.
I can't.
He says as he calls himself a good person. Oh shit.
It's beautiful. Oh, it's so good.
That's great.
Oh, when does Takano open the fucking trunk of the car and then Tobataki's corpse is just in there?
That'd be pretty great.
It's like, I just have to put your bike in the back.
With the corpses.
Yeah. I took Takano's hands and sat down in the passenger seat. Takano-san went around the back and looked at my bike on the ground.
Don't suppose we could take the bicycle home tomorrow?
I could clearly tell from her face that she thought it would be a pain since it would be heavy and it would get her car dirty. But my bike has the name Mayabara written on it. I couldn't leave it out here like this.
Someone might know it was here.
Well, can you somehow put it in the car? I sort of need it.
I ain't saying shit. Dude, the trunk's full. She's got like papers and shit in there, I guess.
Yeah, she's just carrying a bunch of medical machinery.
That makes sense to me.
You gotta take it from the festival.
Yeah.
You know, they have a stand set up for the hospital. Like,
Yeah.
Did you know we can fix your body at the hospital?
Yeah, totally. That makes sense to me. I see nothing suspicious about this.
Look, here's a corpse to demonstrate what would happen if you didn't come to us.
The trunk is already full. If I put it in the back seat, it'll get the seats dirty with mud. Well, given how you're already in here, it's already dirty, I suppose. I turn back to the back seat and see someone's folding bicycle there already. Still looked big enough to fit my bike in there as well. My expression reflected my thoughts, and the exact thoughts seemed to get through to her.
All right. I'll put it in here for you. I'll be really nice, but just for tonight, okay?
Takano-san continued with her mean jokes, but she hoisted my bike and loaded it into the back seat for me. The mean jokes were one thing, but couldn't she do something about that eerie smile of hers?
Nope. Just like I can't do shit about mine.
And even more importantly than the bike, I didn't want to leave the shovel here. The shovel could be directly connected to the buried body and to me. Sorry to ask another favor, but could you get my shovel too? Takano-san gave me a clearly dubious expression.
Your shovel? That's fine with me. Is it important?
The more I talk, the worse it gets for me. That's how I felt, so I didn't force myself to answer her. Eventually, outlasted by my silence, Takano-san gave a short shrug and sighed.
All right, I understand. You need your shovel, right? You don't need to make such a mean face.
Takano-san brought over the shovel that was lying in the middle of the road. I clutched it like I'd never let go of it again. Takano-san watched me with a puzzled look.
She's such a nice lady.
She's so lovely.
I love her. Yeah.
I can't
She's just being so polite and helpful.
The best thing is, right, is if you weren't up to par with this, it's like, the trunk's already full, but why is the folding bicycle in the back seat?
No comment.
Oh, it's so beautifully done. I love this.
Okay, let's,
goddammit. Fucking point to Ryukishi, I don't even
care. It's alright, we'll take it.
Okay, let's be off. Mayabara-kun. You live at the Mayabara mansion, don't you? Why does everyone call my house the Mayabara mansion?
Because it's actually a mansion. It must be nice to be rich.
As she spoke, Takano-san pulled the handbrake and stepped on the gas. After making a skillful U-turn using the shoulder of the road, she steadily increased in speed. From the rearview mirror, that accursed place seemed to melt into the darkness.
Ride?
Reed, maybe?
Reed? Jared! Jerry!
Oh, we met Jared? Oh, no!
Jerry! God damn it! Stop killing people!
Ah!
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you. What was that? Takano-san suddenly tried to say something to me, but thoughtlessly I didn't catch it. Looking ahead, Takano-san said the same thing one more time.
Uh-oh. Yeah?
It's moments like this I wish we had face cam so you could just see the grin that spread across my face. I was already grinning.
That's right, I can see how happy you are. You're having a great time.
The body.
How well was it buried? I thought my heart might beat out of my chest, but I didn't let it show. But my lungs were squeezed tight and I couldn't breathe. What are you talking about? When burying bodies in mountains like these, you have to bury it fairly deeply because wild dogs will often smell the corpse and dig it out. Some human bone a wild dog brings back in its mouth leads to an incident being uncovered. The police head out to a stretch of mountains. It actually happens pretty often, you know.
Pound, pound, clang, clang.
Clang, clang!
Huge rusted bells started
Ring,
ringing in my
ding, ding
mind.
with the bells. Yeah?
I buried it so deep that I could...
That's the question he has? This is the question he has?
Yeah.
And I buried it so deep that I could say it absolutely wouldn't be found? The answer was no. I was in such a rush to bury him and get it over with that I couldn't deny having possibly buried it too close to the surface. No, wait, that's not, anyway, this woman, how does she know? She just passed by here in a car by coincidence, and we ran into each other by coincidence. If she'd been watching the entire thing from the trees, and once I left, she came back in her car. It didn't make logical sense.
Murder her!
So then, why?
Do it!
Kichi Mayabara. That's it. You need to kill
That's what I said!
her. My entire body would reawaken and I could feel my pupils dilate. I couldn't possibly beat her to death with a shovel in such a small car. And I'd use my hands and strangle her. But she was driving right now. If I strangled her, we might get into an accident.
The opportune moment.
And suddenly Takano-san turned and looked at me. What, no witty retort? For a moment I was surprised. What was she talking about? It would seem we're not a very good match. Takano-san said, disappointed, returning her gaze ahead. I repeated the words she'd said a few times in my head and finally realized she'd meant it as an off-color joke. I didn't know whether it was really a joke, but I wouldn't be able to fool her no matter how many lies I told her.
It was definitely an off-color joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
100%
She's a funny
joke.
girl, she is.
Complete
Takano.
joke.
She does stand-up comedy every week at the Oishi police station.
Right now, with her driving the car like this, I couldn't kill her.
Clothing station.
I would have an even harder time doing it when we got back to my house. That moment we met, that had been my best chance.
Yes, you with your sprained ankle, best chance.
Yeah, your sprained ankle, covered in bike, without your shovel by your side. Because it's like been thrown across the road. Yeah, perfect.
To have missed it so easily. It hurts.
I was so in control of that situation.
After that, Takano-san didn't say a single word. The car was completely buried in an almost suffocating silence.
I get it, because you're choking.
Connections.
What kind of woman had I ran into?
A witty one.
With everything that happened today, I managed to pull it off, and at the very end of it, I just had to go home and go back to sleep. What bad luck.
For those of you who have this on such low settings on YouTube that it's not carrying across effectively, the screen is in fact getting darker.
It is.
As my sleepiness gradually overtook me, the anxiety I felt steadily started to matter less and less.
Oh no.
Is this alright, Keiichi Mayabara? You probably shouldn't leave this woman alive. Right now I'm tired. She stepped on the brakes and I jerked against my seatbelt. It woke me up. I thought I must have fallen asleep by accident. I looked out the window and there was a big building with faint lights on. It was really dark out, but I knew immediately it was my house.
Correction, mansion.
I'll go get your folks for you. Would you mind the place for a few moments while I'm gone? Don't make fun of me, please. Besides, look, I'm fine now. I can walk by myself with my sprained ankle and bike and shovel. Oh my, you were in such pain before that. You had to get me to carry you. Did you just want a pretty lady to be nice to you?
Totally in control.
As Takano spoke, she left the car and opened her umbrella. The sound of falling raindrops was fierce as always. I carefully reached down and rubbed the ankle I'd twisted. There was still some pain and a little weirdness, but they weren't that bad anymore. Rather than being happy about how light the wound was, I first regretted this whole thing. If I hadn't twisted my ankle, I could have still taken the option of killing Takano-san right there and then.
Incorrect, but thank you for the observation.
There probably wasn't much doubt that Takano-san was convinced I was involved in some sort of crime. If she knew about everything happening with Sadako, then she might have even guessed I'd killed somebody.
Dude, she's just a nice lady. You could kill them real easy.
Click!
Nice ladies are the easiest to murder. Straight up.
Takano-san opened the passenger side door for me. You sure you don't need my shoulders? I wouldn't mind doing it for you again.
Inappropriate.
I ignored her and answered by getting out of the car by myself. The rain was still pretty intense. I got my bicycle out of the back seat. I was a bit curious who the other bike belonged to, but that didn't matter right now. I let Takano-san hold the umbrella over me, then pushed my bicycle up to the front door. Thank you very much. I'll be fine now. My ankle hurt so much earlier, and it still did, but it aggravated me that it hadn't even been that bad. It was really, seriously terrible luck. Alright, I'll be leaving then. Keep it a secret that we had a nice evening drive together by ourselves, okay? Especially from Jiro-san.
Pat's boot.
Inappropriate on so many levels.
For those of you from other parts of the world, boot is an alternative to trunk.
Oh, it's true. In the Americans, they don't call them boots, do they?
Yes, they call it a trunk.
That's just weird,
yes.
Guys. What are you doing up there? Come down here to the upside down world. Teach you how it is, how boots work. You put them on your foot.
Jiro-san.
Put corpses in them.
Oh, she meant Tomataki-san.
Flash.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I suppose she calls him by his first name. His full name must be Jiro Tomataki.
Flash.
And then the other bike, the folding one in the back seat, that they didn't care about at first suddenly came to mind.
Oh, excuse me. You're from Minamizawa, right?
On the day before yesterday.
That was the day before yesterday. God, this is all happening in such a short frame of time.
It is. It's so quick.
The day before yesterday, as I walked near the dam half-asleep, Tomataki-san talked to me. And the bicycle he'd been riding it was...
Oh. It was my bike.
The bicycle in the back belongs to... Ah, shit!
Ah, 1 point.
Yep, point.
It's alright. It's alright. You're having an off day. Normally it's me having every single off day. You can take one off day. It's how it be.
Such an obvious one as well.
In the biz.
She appeared on screen too. I feel so cheated.
It's okay.
The bicycle in the back belongs to Tomataki-san, doesn't it?
Flash.
Takano-san's eyes, I think they sharpened for a moment. And why do you think that?
Oh.
I saw it when I met him before. The frame stood out to me.
Oh.
But wouldn't that be odd? Do you think it's possible for this to be Jiro-san's bike? Odd, huh? Takano-san, here it is again. Her hair, elegantly fluttering, peers into my eyes.
Woo.
Well, there are no bed and breakfasts in Hinamizawa, are there? Jiro-san would need to be staying in town. Is that so? I guess that's right, huh? You can't really walk from town to Hinamizawa, can you? And there are no buses either. You at least need a bicycle. She didn't need to tell me that. That's why Jiro-san was riding a bike. For Jiro-san's bicycle to be stowed in my car, and him not in there, that would be strange, wouldn't it? It would mean Jiro-san was in Hinamizawa, without a bike. I'd have to have left Jiro-san somewhere and put his bike in the car, wouldn't I? It wouldn't make sense. As she spoke, Takano-san made eyes like a hawk. Unfortunately, I didn't really understand what was so odd. What about that is odd? Aren't you and Tomataki-san friends? I don't really think it would be strange for there to be some reason you had his bicycle in your car. But it would be. What I mean is Jiro-san and his bicycle being in different places in Hinamizawa wouldn't make sense. And for those reasons, it means this bicycle can't be his. You understand now?
What is happening?
I'm having so much fun.
This is like the Higurashi self-insert moment, but also just... it's insane.
So
it's
beautiful.
Great.
Takano-san's roundabout way of talking was hard to comprehend, but the eeriness I could feel, that vague dreadfulness, I didn't like it at all. But the most wild, instinctive part of me warned me not to pry. It's my bicycle. Jiro-san picked it out for me, though, so I can't deny it looks alike. Ah, I see now. I thought it looked similar. You and I never saw each other tonight. And now she was talking about something completely different. What are you talking about? You and I never saw each other tonight. I stayed there not knowing what to say, and Takano-san repeated her eerie, succinct phrase to me again. You and I never met this night. You and I never saw each other tonight.
It's like dangling a coin back and forth.
Oh, right.
Hypnotize him. A little like cross pendant thing she's got. She pulls it off and just.
Of course.
That's why it's
finally. That's
so it
why
can be pulled out. Yeah. It's a hypnosis gear.
I would actually believe that. Something cold and unpleasant crawled up my spine, but Keiichi, rain goes down.
What?
I knew because I'd killed a person with my own hands before. Before I came to the conclusion that I only had one chance to beat this woman to death to keep her quiet, and I couldn't hesitate. So I could tell that she'd arrived at the very same conclusion. My instincts warned me again. I wish I'd never met this woman. The faint sense like a rotten smell drifting from this woman was no doubt the exact same sense that I was giving off right now. Mm-hmm. The very peculiar aspiration, the lack of uncertainty at taking a human's life for a purpose. One that only those who had risen above everything had. Actually, maybe I should have called it a nausea. It meant, and I didn't know how to explain this very well, but Takano-san was the same as me. In other words, someone who shouldn't have been here. Someone I couldn't have let anybody know was here. Someone who nobody would have wanted to see. And now that we had, we could calmly pretend as though we never met. Yes, which meant that just like I wanted to have nothing else to do with her, she didn't want anything to do with me either. And she too wanted to make it so we'd never met. Both of us wished for the same thing. Our desires were the same, which meant Takano-san's suggestion was extremely practical, and that I couldn't outright refuse. If that's fine with you, then sure, whatever. You and I didn't meet this night.
You're right. That would be best for you too, wouldn't it?
Why do you think that?
You're seriously asking me that? You can't figure that out on your own, boy.
Boy?
She cut me off with the condescending word, boy.
Yeah, I notice. You boy?
Right in front of my house, in a place most unsuited to killing. And yet there was a frozen thirst for blood coming from both of us. I would be killed right here, right now. Yeah, and I should have definitely beaten her as we passed each other. Damp, greasy sweat broke out in my body. It's fine. If you want me, then you can come anytime. And when I made up my mind, she shook her hair elegantly and turned on her heel.
Good. I'm a kind person, after all.
What was good? How? Because she was a kind... What? Was that it? I didn't get it. Takano-san got in her car. We didn't exchange any words of parting. I had performed a massive feat, the killing of Sadako's uncle, and yet I didn't feel any accomplishment. On the holy night of Oyashiro-sama's curse, on which the taking of another's life was allowed, on the terribly rainy night when the demons wandered as agents of Oyashiro-sama's will, the demons were never supposed to meet, but suddenly they did. The demons parted ways triumphantly. There was no reason for them to fight. Both their objectives had already been accomplished. With the rain hitting me like a waterfall, my eyes met with Takano-san's through the car window. The female demon, her mouth twisted into a distorted, fearless smile. It was too late to kill her. Far too late. That first moment, the very first moment we saw each other, had been my best chance. And now that we had parted ways like this, I was acutely aware of it. I should not have let her live. She beeped her horn quickly then, and her car drove away into the deluge. The one woman who knew what really happened tonight disappeared into the dark. As long as she was alive, this night would never really end. Just get into an accident, I thought to myself. In this downpour, slip on some mud or something and fly face first into a tree and die. That wasn't a delusion, a wild flight of fantasy. It was an earnest wish. Yes, it was a command. Die. Die. And keep your mouth shut for eternity. Because I have no doubt you're wishing for me to die all the same. My curse upon her faded emptily as Takano-san's taillights disappeared into the utter darkness. Her car's lights were completely out of sight now. Even the sound of the engine faded into the sound of the heavy rain and was inaudible now. I too turned on my heel, to draw the curtains on this insane night, to open my front door and end it all. I began walking towards the front door. I was covered in mud and I made a squishing sound with every step I took. Squish, squish. Don't worry, Keiichi Maebara. Squish, squish. She'll die. Squish, squish. Her end will be as miserable as she is. I'll throw her into some flames alive and let her dance until she's burned to a crisp. I'll burn her to ashes in the fires of hell itself until she's roasted as much as she deserves. I wish, I really do.
Squish.
Huh? Just now, I hadn't taken a step, and yet a footstep. Without emotion, I turned around. If there was a footprint that wasn't my own, then it was obviously someone behind me. Was somebody else there? I was sick of this. Whoever it was, I was sick of everything tonight. This time I would kill them. I'd kill them without a second thought. I wouldn't hesitate to turn around and dig another hole. But fortunately, there was nobody there. I wasn't going to have to kill any more people tonight. This night I couldn't handle any more of it. Even if I heard an extra footstep each time I stopped, I put it down to just me being tired.
Oh, goodness me.
There it is, the chapter.
Oh,
that's a good chapter, eh?
So good.
Yeah. This is peak Higurashi right here, isn't it?
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Like, as with all the fantastic things we said the whole way through, it's like, it's bringing up all of these images we've had over the past few arcs, like the footsteps, the fucking hair in the wind nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love it.
Taking extra steps.
The achievement is called taking extra steps. That's terrible.
It's great.
Alrighty, let's do these tips.
Do the tips, boys! I'm ready to actually narrate some shit.
Fire from Hell.
Hell of fire.
Oh yes, that was the other one. They obviously brought up the fire. You know, he's like, I wish she dies in
I wish she
flames
would be
of hell,
burned in a barrel or something. Hello, I'm going to assume this is Oishi. Hello.
It's time for the Uishi station.
Do you need the hospital or fire department? I am in charge of all emergency numbers now. The fire department. Is there fire or some other accidents?
Have you seen that scene from the, like, 60s Batman?
Which one?
Where, so it's,
Flap.
It's the Commissioner and Inspector Gordon both call Bruce Wayne, but one of them calls Batman, the other calls Bruce Wayne.
He has to run between the two phones.
No,
or something.
And they're like, hold on, Batman, we'll put you on with Bruce Wayne and you can discuss what to do.
Right.
So he's just sitting there like switching phones.
Yeah, exactly. No,
that's what Uishi's doing.
That's
right
literally
here.
what this is. Which you're like, fire department, police. He's got the 3 phones on his tail. They're all color coded, like little tags on them. Yeah, here we go. Is there a fire or some other accident? Please speak slowly and calmly like myself. I think it's a fire. This is the blank rest area on the blank highway. I can see a ton of fire and smoke coming up the mountains behind us. Nobody goes back there, so I don't know why anything got lit on fire. Anyway, I figured I should let you know. I can tell you what forest fire. Oh, I understand. I need to know exactly where you are, so please tell me your name, a phone number we can use to get in touch with you, and the exact location of fire. Notice from Fire Department Headquarters. This is Fire Department Oishi. We have reports of a suspicious fire on the western slopes of the Blank Mountain. Given its distance from the road, it would be a couple's bonfire or someone unlawfully burning trash.
Wow, that's a really rude thing to call Takano.
It's pretty rude, isn't it? She was a nice lady. The location is deep in the woods.
As she often said.
No homes in the area, but the fire could spread.
I read that as homies in the area.
No homies in the area, but they could spread like wildfire, you know what I mean? Immediately go to site to verify. Is this the fire station? This is the Blank District Fire Department branch. We arrived moments ago at the reported area. Fire confirmed to be burning oil drum left in mountains. The fire is coming and there is no chance it will spread. And well, there's a lovely lady in sight. In the oil drum, I think it might be a person. Like a person burned with kerosene or something. Well, I think maybe we should get the police over here. I
just, I understand there's nothing wrong with saying the person was burned with kerosene.
Sure.
But there's an oil drum on fire in the mountains. I think there might be a person in the oil drum on fire. They might have been burned with oil.
There may have been oil in this oil drum. We should investigate. Take samples. Yeah. There is no mistaking it, fire Oishi. There is person. Yeah. But of course I should not fear. Alright, there we go.
There we go.
Victim of the fifth year.
I'm excited for this one.
Who's this gonna be? It's gonna be like those patrol cars.
It's Oishi again.
I guess so. This year's curse then. That's what it looks like. He kills them differently every year, but this year is particularly conspicuous, isn't it? Clawing out their own throats. That isn't normal. Let's leave the rest of the old man in forensics. I'm sure he'll find some suspicious drugs. Thank you for your hard work. Oh, Oishi-san, Gomiyama-san, and the others have arrived. Oishi-san, much appreciated. You do very good work and are very handsome. Well, it would seem we have a pretty crazy one this year. Yes, we've been outsmarted. I was absolutely under the impression Teppei Hojo would get killed tonight.
Pause for effect.
Who is deceased? Zero Tomotoki Fleschen, a photographer with a hobby for coming to Inamizawa a few times a year. We didn't even have him marked. I wonder what happened. Did they realize we were watching the Hojo residents the whole time and decide to switch their targets?
What?
What?
They were watching the residents the whole time?
Apparently.
And didn't see what happened?
I don't know.
Or did they see what happened?
Did they see it? Were they there after he left the house? Did they see what happened? What's going on there?
That's so strange.
It is very strange.
That's like the strangest thing that's happened this whole arc.
It's great, isn't it? Maybe we sure flubbed this one, Dodoi.
I could agree with that one.
Had there no problems with Teppei Hojo? Correct. His daughter left for festival in the evening. A little while later, he left on his motorbike. His daughter came back first. Wait, has he not come back yet?
There we go.
Is he still out drinking somewhere? Oishi-san, are you there? Call from Chief Takasugi. He's on the line in car 1. There you go. So they saw the whole thing, sort of. They saw part of the whole thing. A piece of the puzzle, one might say, in this mystery.
So they had Teppei under observation.
They watched him leave but didn't trail him.
They didn't trail him.
No.
The fuck?
I know, they're not very competent, clearly.
Oishi.
I guess there was like staking the place out, like he'll come back soon,
yeah, I mean,
maybe.
I guess, like, you know.
And then he didn't come back, of course.
My assumption is that they're like, all right, yeah, well, if someone's probably gonna sneak into the house, and they'll kill him when he comes back.
Yeah.
But
because like, why would they expect him to leave, right?
Yeah.
And the same for the murderer. Why would the murderer expect him to leave the residence?
And the thing is, right, is that, you know, I think that clearly Cage is gonna get found out in what little time we have left, supposedly. But
put Lil in quotation marks for me. But yeah, sure.
Like, that's so strange. I don't understand why, from a writer's perspective, Ryukishi would have them not.
That loophole there?
Yeah.
It is a bit strange, isn't it? I don't know.
Like, I wonder what he's going to do with it.
I feel like, just from like, you know, me putting myself in your mindset, it's like they're trying to show that police are human. They're not like, you know how they are in those movies, like, give everything to forensics and they'll sort everything out and then everything is solved and we catch the criminal and that's the end.
Yeah.
He's trying to show, like, this is a police force with real people and they can screw up. But you're right, it is a very strange, like, loophole to leave in. Like, why even mention that they were watching the place anyway? Like, he could have just left that out.
Yeah, I mean, even outside of, like, Ryukishi's context, it's one very interesting thing to do with any, like, figure of authority in a story.
For sure.
Is to give them a level of incompetency. The one that always...
Usually that's for comedy.
Well, not even that.
That's
but
what
like,
I find.
Especially you'll find characters that have like a god type figure in a story.
Sure.
Will make the god have some flaw.
Like they're a giant Chinibyo. Yeah, I get you.
What does that even mean?
That's from science. You know what Chinibyo means?
No clue.
Oh god. It's a frame of mind where you sort of believe that you are a completely different person who you actually are and use it as a form of escapism. Right. So in Steins Gate there's a character called Okube Rintaro and he has I'm not going to spoil things, but he is a very powerful character. He has a lot of agency in the plot by what he ends up getting involved in. But his whole like coping mechanism from dealing with the shit that's going on is say, God, is that his, he has this like whole persona that he goes to, I am mad scientist. it's so cool, and he pretends like he's way bigger than he actually is, and everyone either finds it endearing or finds it really annoying.
I think the one that I tend to have a lot more is the whole thing where like the god comes in and they're like, I'm all powerful, I do this, I do that, and then they're too proud, or they always have the one really obvious flaw that it's like, okay, we get it, we understand. So having it like this, where it's like, oh look, the police force, they're human, they're incompetent, like. It's a very fine line to walk of the like, either oh look they're human, or god damn it they're just fucking incompetent.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're the stereotypical like donut eating, coffee chugging like Simpsons cops.
Yeah.
Which
yes.
negative. That's how they're often portrayed in comedies.
So for me as a reader, I'm like. I'm on the fence right now because I'm like, oh god, is Ryukishi about to just throw it into incompetency? Yeah, maybe. Or is there like going to be some interesting reason that he pulls for it? Like, I hope it's the latter, obviously.
Well, he's obviously like, he's brought the cops into the spotlight by having this tip here.
Yeah.
There's clearly going to be something, like they're involved in the situation, so they're going to come back, as Oishi often does, to see what he can dig up. But yeah, no. Looking forward to seeing how it unfolds.
Alrighty. Next time.